I said earlier that I think this story has a lot to do with identity and intersectionality and and it has lots of lessons to teach us about what it means to be a church that is multi. So I want to just end with kind of 5 things. I know I broke the rule, it's supposed to be 3, I'm sorry. 5 things that I think can be drawn out of this story that can challenge us before I sit down. So the first thing, and you'll note here that these 5 things, I've framed them as for folks who are closer to privilege and further from privilege. So find yourself in that. Be honest about that, all right? But I want to name that identity is complicated, and so we always have to be thinking about this. So the first thing, if you are a person who is far from the advantages of whiteness, I think this story can remind you of your capacity to become the oppressor. Note that later the Egyptians do become the oppressor of the Hebrew slaves. The situation is reversed, and when they have the opportunity for power over, abusive power over, they take it. I think that there's a way in which many of us have to remember that the system is within us, and we always have to grapple with that reality that the system is in us. We have to remember that it doesn't come natural to us to relate differently to power. And I want to think that it does, but it doesn't. It does, a little thing called sin. It doesn't. And I think that we have to be honest, and this is this insight comes from Pastor Delonte Ghostin, who's a friend of this community. He talks about that, sometimes those of us who are far from privilege, we just want to be them instead of being free. And I think that we really have to grapple with that reality. I think it can lead us to humility in community.